Honestly, it's getting pretty difficult to believe how fast this year is going. We're already in October, it's the spooky season, and for some reason in California, it is still over 100 degrees. And in that time, we've seen the release of, honestly, just so many handhelds, it is almost impossible to keep track of them all. And a couple months ago, I made a video talking about basically a buyer's guide on how to pick the best handheld you can buy at that time. And I broke it down into a bunch of categories. And now that we are at the end of the year, we've seen a few more device releases, we've seen price dropping, we've seen sales. And so I thought it might be the perfect time to make a updated version of that list. What is the best way to buy a PC handheld today? And which are the best ones in each category? So let's just jump right into this. The first section is the $300 and under category. This is a very weird category. You won't find very many new options in this category, especially if you want something high-end with, that can play high-end games and AAA titles, because simply that won't really exist at this price point. Ideally, you'll want to buy something like a used Steam Deck, like a used 64GB base model Steam Deck. You could find some of those for around $250, but before we jump into used options, brand new, you can pick up an iNeo Air Plus with an AMD 7320U, which is basically just a 7th gen Ryzen 3. It has a max TDP of 15 watts, and you can get this for about $265 on a perpetual sale on iNeo's website, link down below. And honestly, this isn't a terrible choice. It is way better than some of the older options we've seen in the past, like the Anbernic Win 600. This is definitely more powerful than that, but this is still lacking in terms of performance when it compares to the Steam Deck. But it is currently a lot cheaper than a brand new Steam Deck is. So if you're trying to play mostly older titles or do some basic emulation, I think this device would serve you well, but there is another device that I have talked about in the past that I just absolutely despise. That is the iNeo Next Lite. You can get this device for about $300, and you can get this with either an AMD Ryzen 5 4500U or a Ryzen 7 4800U, which might seem good in some people's eyes, but honestly, these are pretty old laptop processors, even in comparison to the Ryzen 3000 chip we just saw in the previous device mentioned. And they should perform relatively similar. While these older 4000 series chipsets might sound more impressive and might be able to even pull higher wattages, they will have overall just similar performance or worse performance than the Steam Deck. So frankly, these aren't a good value either. And you can achieve similar levels of performance with the other device mentioned. So honestly, I don't understand why this device even exists. If you have the money for one of these devices, you might as well just buy a Steam Deck, because they advertise this device working best in a Linux-based operating system. If you're going to deal with that, might as well just get the best one, the Steam Deck. The next section of devices is the $300 to $600 price range. I know it's large, but there are quite a few devices that fit that price range, but there's even more that cost more than that. So in order to fit all the devices I want to talk about, I gotta have some pretty wide ranges here. The original base model Steam Deck used to be my primary device I would choose at the base of this price range, but it is unfortunately now out of stock and unlikely to be refilled. But a device that they currently are selling certified refurbished through Valve is currently available still, and you can get those for about $360, and that is a 512GB refurbished Steam Deck, which honestly, if you're going to buy a 64GB Steam Deck and then upgrade it, you might end up spending about $360 anyways. So either way, I think it's a pretty decent deal. We talked about the Steam Deck to death on this channel, so I'm not going to bore you with that whole spiel again, but the Steam Deck continues to be, and will be for a while, a tremendous value. Even though the Steam Deck is starting to show its age, I still enjoy it every time I decide to pick it up and play. But a new challenger has entered the new Value King category. The original Asus ROG Ally with a Z1 Extreme processor can be had on average from Best Buy, open box, so technically not brand new, but it still has a like new warranty applied to it, and you still get all the comforts of being able to return it whenever you would like, effectively within like the certain 30 to 60 day window, as a brand new product would too. So it adds an extra level of security even though it is a used product. And you can get one of those devices for about $350 at the moment. And that is a killer deal for an ROG Ally, because those devices are still, while not amazing in terms of their durability and reliability, will be tremendous at gaming. Now, though it's being outperformed by its younger brother, the ROG Ally X, the original ROG Ally with a Z1 Extreme chip still performs quite admirably to this day, though it lacks some of the creature comforts of like having extra and faster memory that the newer device has and having double the battery life. If you're willing to make those sacrifices, you are in for a tremendously amazing experience. Between the original ROG Ally and the ROG Ally X, they even share certain features. The buttons, the triggers, the analog sticks, the D-pad are all functionally the same, and they share the same exact 120Hz 1080p IPS display, which is amazing. I would have loved to put the Legion Go right here, but unfortunately, to get a brand new Legion Go, you have to spend more than $50 over the budget for this section. And for an open box one, you're nearing the top at $576 for an open box model. And that's just so close to a brand new one, you might as well just spend a little bit extra and get a brand new device. So checking eBay though, you can find a Legion Go for anywhere between $450 to $570. And that widely varies in terms of condition and completeness of the package. So buyer beware if you do go down that route. Though eBay has excellent buyer protection, and I've personally had to go through that before, and it was a very nice experience. Though still frustrating because I had a broken device, so it still sucked, but at least eBay wasn't really at fault for that. Either way though, the Legion Go, while still being an amazing device, simply doesn't fit for this section. Now we're entering the next section, the $600 to $1,000 effectively budget price range, the highest end you should be buying brand new if you have this kind of money device section. If you're spending this much, you're buying some of the best devices out there with the highest end features and the absolute most performance you can possibly have. And that means the undisputed king of this category is the Asus ROG Ally X. This device is fundamentally one of the highest performing PC handhelds on the market today, because it has a dedicated extra 8GB of high-speed memory dedicated specifically for the integrated graphics on the processor of the Z1 Extreme, the 780M. Thanks to that dedicated high-speed memory, we've seen an increase of performance that honestly is astounding for what essentially is just more memory. Not only does it have a nice leap in performance, it also does a huge leap again, doubling the wattage of the battery from 45 watts to 80 watt-hours of pure lithium-ion power in this device. And you basically go from being able to play for like 45 minutes to an hour to like 2 to 2.5 hours of full performance gameplay, which is honestly something I would love to do. Considering this category is designed so you have zero limitations, you should be getting the best you possibly can today. And that's what the Z1 Extreme ROG Ally X is. There are others like the iNeo Kun, but frankly, at $1,000, $200 more than the Ally X, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense. And for the iNeo 2S, that's also $1,000, with the same level of performance as the original ROG Ally. It doesn't make a huge amount of sense. Other devices that might have been in this section are the Zotac Zone, but that was supposed to be releasing in September, and I haven't heard a single thing about this device outside of what we know from Computex. We do know the price now, which is $800, which is a bit of a, hard pill to swallow, especially considering this has a Ryzen 7 8840HS, which is essentially a Z1 Extreme, but with some AI nonsense on it, so that's exciting. And the Nitro Blaze 7 from Acer also will have an 8840HS, which is also still just a Z1 Extreme with AI nonsense. So no matter what amazing features it has, it's still not going to be the highest performing or have the best battery life of all the PC handhelds in this category. So even among the unreleased to be released in the future handhelds, it still doesn't make any sense to buy anything else other than the Ally X. Now that we've finished the very last main section of this video, there's something I want to discuss. Should you even be buying a PC handheld right now? And in all honesty, if you are buying a PC handheld right now, I would say spend as little as humanly possible. Because next-gen PC handhelds are, while not coming out immediately, are shaping up to be potentially a massive leap in terms of performance and efficiency. The Ryzen AI 300 chips have new integrated graphics. The AMD Radeon 890M and 880M are shaping up to be potentially just a radical shift and leap forward for these PC gaming handhelds, rivaling the performance of full-blown gaming GPUs in terms of like completely destroying old low-end graphics cards, completely making obsolete graphics cards like the 1650 in older high-end cards like a Maxwell-era GTX Titan-class card, which frankly is hilarious, but just goes to show how much more powerful these things are. And on top of that, the efficiency gains we've seen with these chipsets, at least in laptops, and those have like anywhere between 67 to almost 99 watt hours in terms of battery life, and granted not going to translate incredibly well to PC handhelds, but what we've seen on those laptops is battery life in excess of 10-11 hours. I don't expect that to be the exact same level of endurance we'll see on PC handhelds in the future, though I'm hoping for like 4-3 hours with a nominally sized battery. But if you absolutely have to buy a PC handheld right now, for the $300 and below section, I would buy the Ioneo Air Plus with an AMD Mendocino 7320U processor. It's on the lower end side, but if you're looking for older gen AAA titles or some pretty decent emulation performance, it should get you there pretty easily. Or if you like to take risks, a huge Steam Deck would be a pretty easy thing to find at this price point. For the mid-range section, so that means you're spending anywhere between $300 to $600, I would go for an open box ROG Ally or a brand new ROG Ally, because basically there isn't very many good options at this price point, and the Z1 Extreme ROG Ally still holds up very well, though you would have to be okay with some of the compromises that come with this less reliable version of this device. And of course, for the high end, the ROG Ally X, while being expensive, is still one of the best, highest quality experiences you can get your hands on. I would love to hear what you guys think. Are you waiting to see what comes out next? Are you trying just to get by until next generation handhelds come out? I would love to hear what you guys think. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the other social media garbage down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.